In some big time breaking news, WWE has had even more cuts in the past 2 years. Now they've let go of over, I think, 100 and something superstars, and that's not including the people at corporate they've let go. They have now let go of the following superstars, as you can see from this tweet from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com. Fightful has learned that WWE have released John Morrison, Top Dollar, Asante Adonis, Isaiah Swerve Scott, which that there goes the entire faction of Hit Row. Tegan Knox, Drake Maverick, Shane Thorne, and Jackson Riker. No complaints about that last one for me, but it is just insane the amount of people that have been cut. I'll get to each individual one in a second. I know Drake Maverick just released a video about his cut on WWE. It was a very emotional video, much like he did the first time they released them, and then they got the backlash, and then they were like, "Oh, well, goddamn, pal, let's rehire him. We worked him." But look. Again, I'll get into each one of these individually. Just some notes. Again, John Morrison, Top Dollar, Asante Adonis, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Tegan Knox, Drake Maverick, Shane Thorne, and Jackson Riker, all released from WWE. There's some notes on this. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com, John Laurinaitis cited budget cuts, once again, the proverbial budget cuts, as the reason in the email when he sent this to the superstars. And he says the following: for those asking, I have not heard of any additional cuts in this round. That doesn't mean they will or will not happen tonight. It is possible that we could see even more tonight. And who would be surprised if we did? Who would honestly be surprised? But guys, if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Curvin Abreu's in the chat, and he says, this sucks. Top Dollar. Too many comments him make. I mean, I don't understand it. They literally brought up Hit Row from NXT to the main roster to cut them. They brought up Hit Row, and believe during the WWE draft. During the WWE draft, they brought up Hit Row, and then 2 weeks later, they cut B-Fab, who was the best talker of the group, and then now they're just, well, okay, cool, cleaning house. There goes that faction, gone. And especially when you consider something like, okay, say what you want about the rest of them, Swerve Scott? Isaiah Scott? Swerve Scott? He had talent. He had a lot of talent. This is a former NXT North American champion. But it doesn't matter what you did in NXT. That's the point that's been driven home, I think, by everyone, by WWE management at this point. It does not matter what you did elsewhere. It does not matter what you did in the old NXT. It only matters what we think we can do with you. Or I don't even know at that point. They also cut Tegan Knox, who, again, I'll go over each one of these individually. If it pisses you off, it should, because it definitely makes me a little heated. And I've said this, I don't even know how much more I can go into the what this makes WWE look like. In short, it makes them look tone deaf. It makes them look bad. I don't know. I'm running out of words at this point. It makes your fans question whether or not they should care about what they're watching. It makes the talent that might end up signing with you question whether or not their jobs are going to be secure. It makes people in NXT question whether or not they want to be called up to the main roster. It makes everyone question every single business decision that WWE has made over the past year and is going to make moving forward. Because they've proven that they don't care about their stars. We knew that before this round of cuts. Let's make no bones about it. WWE did not care about their fans nor their talent before this. That's just abject fact. Boom. We don't have to question it anymore. Like, I'm not even going to bring it up in the arguments moving forward. But I guess almost, and again, here's the thing. I heard about these cuts, and I wasn't surprised that there were cuts. I was just like, oh, cool. Who was it this time? John Morrison, Top Dollar, all of Hit Row, Drake Maverick. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, not cool, but that's what they do. That's what they do. They just cut people. They are the company that just cuts people. And sometimes people without no reason. Look, I don't know. Again, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. I hate shilling when I'm talking about a topic like this, but it is what it is. Big Ticket in the chat said, so glad that there's a true alternative now. Yep. Somebody needs to start a wrestling company, by the way. I'm other than AEW. I'm saying with ROH now gone, with I don't know what the future of MLW holds. We've heard mixed reports about what their future might be. But with WWE, literally, you could assemble an entire alternative wrestling company with the talent that they've released over the past year. And you could make the argument that AEW has done basically that, or a bulk of that, with a lot of the talent that they've signed that were former WWE guys or girls. But yeah, someone I think at some point is going to start another wrestling company. Wrestling is just too hot right now. The TV deals that are being dished out are too hot. And the talent that are free agents. Not only do you have everyone that WWE has released just over the past few months and today, but you also have all of the talent of Ring of Honor. At some point, someone is going to take a chance and just start their own wrestling promotion, and they should, because honestly, they probably need it. Not everyone can go to AEW. I don't know if MLW is even capable of signing people right now. The NWA, sure, that could be an alternative, but what's their bandwidth as well? These are things you got to think about. John Woodmass in chat. John Morrison, now that is stupid. I mean, look, everything they've done with John Morrison, honestly, up until this point has been stupid. I don't think you have to question that. Like, it has been stupid what they've done with John Morrison. So yeah, let's start with that, actually. Let's start with John Morrison. Let's start with what I don't even know. Let's start with just his return to WWE. Return to WWE, I believe didn't he return in 2018? Somewhere around there. He returned fairly recently. Paired up, he had a fine run as a singles guy. I thought they were going to push him for a little bit, but then he started doing his shtick with The Miz, and we got Johnny Spooter, I don't know, and then now he's cut. John Morrison in WWE is probably one of the most misused talents ever, because this dude has just phenomenal, immense, almost just intangible ability that can't be taught. You know, the parkour style, incorporating that with wrestling, and then the way he moves is just crazy. And the fact that they couldn't even find a spot for him to perform like that, also kind of crazy. Instead, they just made him into a comedy act. I'll just start with all of Hit Row. I said it before. I'm going to say it again. They literally called up Hit Row just to fire them. They called up all their members. They started with BFAB 2 weeks in. And then they said, well, goddamn, pal, you're gone too. I don't know what to make of it. Again, if originally a lot of the people who were coming up from NXT, you heard that the concern was that they weren't going to be used properly on the main roster. Now the concern is you get called up from NXT, you might get used for 2 weeks and then cut and fired and be unemployed. That's the concern now. That's the precedent that WWE has set. And look no further than Tegan Knox. Tegan Knox debuted with Shotzi Blackheart a few months ago, riding into WWE Friday Night SmackDown on a tank. On a tank. Well, it was more so like an armored vehicle tank, but it was a cool thing. And she was over in NXT. People know she has amazing ability in the ring. I liked what she was doing in her promo work. I thought Tegan Knox was going to be like the next wave of young talent to make it on the main roster. And then what happened? She wasn't used. And I don't know, they didn't even write her off TV. They just didn't do anything with her. Then she got drafted, I believe, to Raw. If I'm not mistaken, she got drafted to Raw. And then we're here. That's been WWE's plan. That was WWE's plan, rather, for Tegan Knox. That's what they did. That's what they did. Now she's gone. Drake Maverick, another person who was a part of the 2020, the original 2020 releases, and then he made an emotional video on Twitter. He actually made another one where he compiled, I believe, some clips and stuff. Definitely check that out. Definitely check that out on his Twitter, at WWE Maverick, for however long his WWE remains in his name. But he was cut in March of 2020. Before that, during his tenure, he spent a lot of time, basically like I think he was originally brought in, I believe, as the 205 Live general manager. Then he did like some sporadic appearances with the 24/7 title. It was in the Cruiserweight tournament when he was cut, actually, back in March 2020, or April 2020, I should say. And he comes out with this emotional video, and he says that, and he's crying and he's very emotional. And then WWE, they see that, oh, damn, bad PR. So what did they do? They have him in a match, and he loses that match, and Triple H comes on the ramp and offers him a shoot contract. And they re-sign him because they felt bad. Well, at least they're capable of feeling bad. At least they haven't gone full on, we hate everybody corporate, except we hate everything except for money. But they love money. They love money. They're trying to inflate their monetary earnings per quarter. They're trying to inflate their value, you would think. I know the topic of a sale comes up every now and then, and who knows, this could be the case. Guys, if you haven't already, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. We have some predictions, actually, on who might WWE sell to. John Woodmoss in the chat says Disney. And he goes on to say that WWE to Disney. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I mean, I would say, I'm not even thinking necessarily a sale. I'm thinking more so a merger. I could totally see WWE merging at some point with NBC. I think the real partner it would be NBC. The reason I say that is because of the deal that they have with NBC, and the prior relationship, I should say, that they have with NBC. They've been running on the USA Network for the past 20, 30 years, actually, WWE Raw. So USA is an NBC Universal property. And going off of that, you also have the fact that they've now moved all of their pay-per-views, all of their specials over onto Peacock. So I think that is the real partner for a merger. I don't think it's a sale necessarily. I'm thinking more of a merger at some point. Although a sale could be part of that. Who knows? Who knows? All we do know is 100% they are trying to inflate their stock price. They are trying to gain quarterly, they're trying to increase their quarterly revenue. The end goal is the only thing that isn't clear. Like, it is clear that quarter to quarter, they are trying to get more money in. They're trying to show that they're making more money by releasing all of these talents and getting them off the books. The only question is, what is the end goal of all of that? That is something that no one, I think, can really answer for sure. The most likely scenario is that they are at least partially looking to sell or merge or do something that would impact the direct operations, or actually direct ownership of the company, and the operations actually of the company. I can't speak to what that is because I don't know. A few months ago, Nick Khan, I believe he is now the president, if I'm not mistaken. He was the president. Yeah, he is the president of WWE now. I believe Nick Khan, he was quoted as saying they're open for business. WWE is open for business. They are not going to, say no to anything. They are open to all ideas and all outcomes. That is, I believe, almost verbatim what he said in that Ariel Helwani interview. Go look it up if you have time. It was a very interesting interview, very revealing. And I think that that's true. They are open for business, and if I had to say it, I'm thinking merger. I'm thinking sale. Like, there has to be an end goal with all of this. It cannot just be we want to inflate our stock prices. There is almost always an end goal with corporate companies when they do something like this, especially the drastic lengths that they're willing to go to do it. Literally firing entire departments. Forget about the wrestlers for a second, okay? Because if we're being honest, not all of them, but many of the higher or top tier wrestlers or more experienced wrestlers, they have either found work or they have, or they're going to probably find work. But they've cut people in corporate. They've cut people who, aren't pro wrestlers making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Or have the ability to make $100,000 a year. They've got people who have day-to-day jobs. There has to be an end goal. And if there is literally not an end goal to all of this, there's really no other words to describe it other than just the worst way to do business. Just almost like, I don't want to say evil, but it is cold-hearted. Cold-hearted. Even if there is the end goal of selling, it's still cold-hearted, but just, what can you say? Like, what can we say that has not been already said about this company at this point? I'm going to go through the chat real quick. Hervin Abreu says, Drake Maverick, second time released from WWE. That is true. John Woodmoss says, John Morrison. Now that's stupid. Absolutely. Daniel in the chat says, I hate WWE at this point. They keep releasing people and not building stars. It's just stupid now. See, again, I think, yeah. It's so stupid, we're running out of words to talk about it. Again, guys, if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It's my shill. My last time I'm going to shill because this is like just a shitty topic to talk about. I'm not going to lie. John Woodmoss also says, Keith Lee was a standout and they ruined him. He wasn't the only one. There's Karrion Kross too. Actually, there were multiple people. Kervin Abreu says, I don't remember a great match for John Morrison this year. That's because there wasn't a great match with John Morrison. Although the WrestleMania match with Bad Bunny and Damian Priest was really good. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, and John, I believe, John Woodmoss, you mentioned it. I mean, they also ruined Tegan Knox. Tegan Knox was a great performer. And Hit Row. They released Swerve Scott. This guy's a former NXT North American champion. This guy's great in the... It's scummy. Absolutely scummy. Hervin Abreu says, if the pandemic never happened, I don't see nobody getting released from WWE. I don't know if I agree with that. I'm not sure if I agree with that at all. I think the pandemic provided them an excuse. They brought in, I think they were going to do this anyway. I truly believe that this was the plan for WWE, or at least they were leaning in this direction before the pandemic really happened. I mean, again, I think plans weren't as solid until Nick Khan got there. They got worse. Like I'll say, it wouldn't have been this bad. It would not have been this bad if if Nick Khan didn't hire or if WWE didn't hire Nick Khan in August of 2020. It would not have been this bad. I think it was going to be more of a slow build to this. Nick Khan has just come in and said, or he's kind of, as we've heard, led the charge with this kind of idea, and the company has followed suit as a whole in doing this. John says, not this much, Curvin. I agree. Yeah. Israel Martinez says, now Hit Row is gone. Yep. There goes Hit Row. Jeff Assassin also says in the chat. Drippy King says, what's going on with all these releases for WWE? Your guess is as good as mine, but one thing's for sure, they're trying to increase their quarterly revenue. That is it. They're trying to write contracts off their books. There's also, I think, a mentality of trying to get younger. I think that's also part of it. So I understand releasing people. Okay, you're trying to get younger. John Morrison, fair enough. All right, older guy, he can work. You could probably have him put younger guys over, but John Morrison, older guy, fair enough. Drake Maverick, another older guy, fair enough. Jackson Riker, not a spring chicken. You're telling me Hit Row? Tegan Knox? Come on. No, that's not it. It's budget cuts because they want to cut the budget to make it show more money at the end of the quarter. And we talked about it a few weeks ago. I said there were more cuts coming. You could see it because it's almost a pattern. I believe they've almost followed this pattern, I believe. Like the quarter happens and we see a big round of cuts, and then just a few weeks later, like 2-3 weeks later, another round of cuts, and then you kind of get a period of some quietness, and then quarter happens, cuts. 2 weeks later, more cuts. That's basically what we've been seeing, if I'm not mistaken. Curvin says, I feel bad for Triple H. Yeah, I mean, look, I feel bad for Triple H on a few fronts because, one, his entire vision of NXT that he built up for almost a decade at this point, like nearly a decade, is gone. It's gone. NXT is not what Triple H built it up to be. It is not the alternative brand that many of us enjoyed. It is developmental. And yeah, like Triple H also got other things to worry about as well. His health, first and foremost, and look, we send our well wishes out to Triple H and his family, and as far as his health goes, because you don't want to wish anyone bad health. But yeah, no, Triple H, and there's talk that he's been kind of pushed out as the successor to Vince, so who knows at this point. John Woodmoss says, just appeasing shareholders at this point. Possibly. John Woodmoss also says, if I was talent, I would be very worried at this moment. Well, John Cena actually retweeted Drake Maverick's video that he just put out today, or that he just put out tonight. He retweeted that video, and actually, hold up, let me see if I can find exactly what he said in that tweet, because because usually, you don't see big time stars reacting to stuff like this. So Drake Maverick shared his immediate thoughts on Twitter following his release. John Cena retweeted it and said, "This is worth a watch. Very well done. Very powerful message by a gifted performer." So we have people, I guess, reacting to this news. This just, what can you say? What else can you say? I don't even know, honestly. John Alba, I should say, from Ad Free Sports says, typically back in the day, WWE would release talent who sat on the sidelines and weren't featured much, but we're in a territory now where the company is actively releasing talent who are consistently on television. How can fans invest in talent knowing this routinely happens? And there it is. If they don't care, why the hell should I? As a fan, that has been the most frustrating part about watching WWE, and why many times I don't enjoy watching it. If they're not invested in these talents, if they're not invested in these storylines, if they're not invested in people that are on TV every week to just keep them around, why should I care? Why should I watch? If Game of Thrones decided to cut Jon Snow midway through, season 3. Season 3. Why the hell would I watch the show? Or if they did that consistent, why would I watch? It is just dumb. It is just dumb. Like, come on. Like, I understand there are WWE fans who are going to want, or who are going to be inclined to defend it. You can't defend it. Like, there are still parts of WWE. SmackDown is overall a good show, and it has nothing to do with even the show at this point. It's just you can't defend the lengths that WWE has gone to show revenue. The amount of people they've cut. They've cut family. Mia Yim, Keith Lee, married. Scarlett Bordeaux and Karrion Kross. I believe they are together at least. John Morrison and Taya Valkyrie. They're together. They're a couple. They literally brought up Top Dollar to release them. Or sorry, not Top Dollar, Hit Row to release them. At some point, we got to recognize what's going on here. At some point, we have to recognize that this company doesn't care. Right? It can't be just me. It absolutely can't be just me. Like, this is just indefensible. Come on. Indefensible. When I've been saying it for the past few months, I'm sick and tired of saying it. And you know what the sad part is? The saddest part about all of this is, I did not want to do this stream. I did not want to talk about this. The absolute saddest part is, I'm probably going to be back here a month or two from now doing this. Because it's going to happen. Because it's what they do. It's just what they do. It is just what they do now. WWE is going to be known as the company from now on. They're going to be known as the company who just lets people go. We can only hope that other companies prop up. We can only hope that other companies sign some of these talent. We can only hope that someone starts another wrestling company. There is a market to start another legitimate alternative wrestling company. Especially with Ring of Honor gone. And with all this talent out there. And I hope someone does. Anyway, I hope you guys found this informative. Tough day for the wrestling business. Tough day for fans. Tough day for the talent in WWE. Hopefully people land on their feet. That's what I got to say. But I've been Omar with this Real Take Update. We'll see you next time.